The fifth state in the Union, but the first state in our hearts. The state of Connecticut has a long and storied history of success on and off the athletic fields, and 22 Threads is your go to apparel brand for all things CT. Visit the 22 Threads website at www.22threads.com to shop their stores and blue collar football apparel collections now. 10% of each item sold is donated to a local Connecticut nonprofit organization. Look good, do good, because you love CT. All right, back for another football week here. Show with Jackson Mitchell joining us again. So, Jackson, welcome back to the podcast.
Appreciate you having me.
So, I know another rough one coming against Duke over this past weekend. I know it had been a tough game for you given some of the circumstances we saw there. Tell me what this game was like from you and your perspective of what you dealt with.
Yeah, it was obviously tough because I prepared all week for this game at the end of the week against a big opponent, and it was obviously a home game and an exciting game to play. And obviously, like very early in the game, probably the fifth defensive play, I got ejected for targeting, which I personally obviously I'm going to disagree with, and feel like I'm not in the minority with that.
No, you're not. You're not.
But yeah, it was definitely a tough call and frustrating. But after that, I kind of just tried to be the best team that I could and kind of help out the guys I could on the sideline.
I mean, I think one of the craziest parts of that whole play and how things played out there was the original overturn. Then they come back, like 2 minutes later and say, we changed our minds again on this. What was that like for you? Were they communicating with you during that, being like, okay, you're good? And then they're like, wait, actually, you're not, like, we're rechanging our thoughts on this?
Yeah, I actually didn't know that they were allowed to do that. Or they could possibly do that. I
Yeah.
don't know, but so they had told me like they were reviewing it, so we were just in the huddle talking about the defense, and I was kind of just waiting on it, and he obviously went on the jumbotron and said I was good. So we lined back up, we went back out there, and then like they weren't snapping the ball, and then the refs were going back over there. So I had thought they were fixing the play clock or spotting the ball differently or something. I didn't even think anything much of it. And then the one of the assistant refs came over to me after, and he said, like, "Are you the one that hit the quarterback?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, you got to go. I hate the rule." And I asked him what happened, and he kind of didn't say anything, and I just obviously jogged off in frustration. And later, obviously, Coach Moore told me that I guess the ACC, because they're ACC refs, the ACC can call down from their headquarters and overturn what the ref's decision was, which I didn't know is possible, but that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, really kind of crazy turn of events there. And I think one thing that, at least from your perspective, I guess had to be make you feel a little bit better is Coach Moore was pretty adamant in going after those refs when they overturned the overturn. And he was going at it. What's it like to play for a coach like that has your back in those type of moments when you guys have to deal with, some personal adversity and he's up there standing up for you?
Yeah, it's definitely good knowing like obviously you're gonna have a coach that has your back through a lot of different situations, difficult situations that you're obviously going through a individual. But it's definitely good and it allows you kind of play more free because he's got your back and he's gonna support you.
I know in the past, targeting you used to have to be like, jettisoned from the team. Like you had to go back in the locker room. At least
Yeah.
now you were able to stay on the sideline. So what was it like in terms of just like knowing you can't go back out there to play, but being out there on the sideline with everyone? And what were you out there doing with the team?
Yeah, it was definitely a different perspective. I don't think, I've set out like from a game since I was a
Yeah.
freshman probably. So it was definitely difficult, but I just tried obviously I'm a leader on the team and try to keep the attitude up on the sideline and kind of just watch what they were doing on offense and try to relay it to Tui and Noah because they were obviously on the field a lot and just tell them what I was seeing from the sideline. And it was just a different perspective for sure because obviously I'm used to standing right there in the middle and seeing it.
Yeah, being on the sideline, I've got to ask you because I know after the game, Coach Moore went on to talk about how, despite the score and the margin there, he had some hope based on kind of some change in demeanor on the sideline. People, players and everyone being a little bit more into it. Maybe if that's what he was insinuating there. From being on the sideline, did you get a sense that that enthusiasm was there that he was talking about in that press conference?
Yeah, I think so. I think the guys that obviously don't play a lot or the freshmen, the guys that are redshirting, they brought some good energy for us on the sideline, And had it been a super close game, I think it would have been great for us. And the guy, even on defense, kind of fed off it a little bit. We were getting stops when we could, and we were stopping the run, so it definitely helped. And I could definitely feel the difference just being on the sideline compared to the FIU game per se.
Yeah. So as we, head down towards this next stretch of the season, I know obviously the start that you guys didn't expect, but having had a similar start last year, is there something from what you did last year that, maybe starts to get into your head that, hey, we've been here before and we're able to turn things around, that maybe you take away from last season heading into this, kind of the final half or so of the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously we were in a similar situation. If we win this game, we're in the exact same situation we were last year. And you kind of you don't want to look too far ahead, but you see games on your schedule that are winnable games. Obviously, everyone we play kind of left is they're good teams. They're putting up points. They're playing good defense, that type of thing. So they're good teams, but there's not too many games on our schedule that we can't obviously pull out. So that's kind of like gives you hope, and knowing that just it takes one. So obviously we're focusing super hard on Utah State and trying to just get this one and get the ball rolling because we feel like after when we got that Fresno one last year, it kind of got us rolling and gave us the confidence we needed.
I'm curious because I know, given the slower start here, the expectations you had coming into the season, I know there have been some player departures of late. Is the morale still good in the locker room that you feel like you've got a group that's, still going out there to compete and turn this season around?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, that's my job to kind of keep that up. Obviously, this is my last year, there's nowhere for me to go or to do anything like that. Like this is all I got. So I'm definitely guys like me, Christian, Iwa, who this is like our last 8 games, hopefully 9. Like we're definitely trying to push and keep the morale up and kind of lead so we can get the ball rolling because it's kind of what we got left for us.
Yeah, what has your message been to the rest of the team as you've been trying to be that, leader in the locker room and keep everyone in a good place?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just kind of focus on us and what we're doing. There's a lot of, especially in situations like this, there's a lot of outside noise. A lot of people have things to say about, maybe us as individuals or us as a team or as a whole. Kind of just focus on us and what we're doing and play for the guy next to you and work for the guy next to you because, the outcome's there. It's possible. We just kind of just got to double down and
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosol's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a UConn fan owned business. And now, back to the interview.
go a little harder and keep digging out and grinding it out.
So I'm going to phrase this in two parts. So now that you're a third of the way through the season, what do you think's been the most disappointing part so far, of the season? And then on the flip side, what makes you optimistic that this team can make some changes and get the ship back in the right direction?
Yeah, I think disappoint. Obviously, I'm a defensive guy. I think the most disappointing part of the season so far was kind of the way we started the season and allowed like kind of the run game because obviously these last 2 games we've been pretty good against the run, like inside run.
Yeah.
But we struggled with it a lot in NC State, which kind of was our downfall. And then again in Georgia State, like they kind of got after us a little bit in the run game. So that was kind of disappointing early in the season, considering we have confidence in our front seven and we weren't playing to our standard. And I take a lot of responsibility for that. But I think that was definitely tough for us just defensively. But something positive I would say is just the way like the guys that are still here, the way that they're still fighting and they're still trying to keep it positive. And obviously the first game was kind of close. Well, we if we
Yeah.
didn't make some mistakes, some penalties, like we could have came out with that one for sure. And then the next 2 we kind of lost it. We got down on ourselves, but the way guys battled back and haven't lost confidence, knowing we played a good team last week and we have a winnable game this week if we kind of just do what we do. Like I like to see that confidence from the team and guys haven't, in practice, they haven't quit. If anything, they're going a little bit harder, trying to figure out ways to get better, which is exciting to see.
Now looking ahead to this game this weekend against Utah State, take me through a little bit of a preview in terms of what you guys have been prepping for this week in the team that everyone's going to see out there on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, they started the season with with one quarterback who was there last year. I think he was a backup last year. Then these past two games, they've kind of gone to a freshman who's gave them a little life in their offense. Obviously, last game he had a pretty good game. He threw some interceptions, but he had a lot of yards, and he brought them back. They were down big to JMU, and they came back and ended up losing. But obviously, JMU is a good team, so that's a strong showing by Utah State, obviously. And then I think their skill guys, like their running backs, are very shifty. Kind of like some guys that we have on our offense, and their receivers are small too and shifty. So this is going to be a big game in tackling in space, and something that we've worked on a lot, considering how we were at the beginning of the season to now. And just like just kind of making our plays when they come to us, and we know like we're gonna have to get turnovers and that type of thing, and something that we haven't done so far, but we're excited to do this game.
So I've got to ask because Coach Moore brought it up in his press conference last week and talking about the game. He mentioned that there was a chance you almost would have been a Dookie, which I think would have killed all the UConn fans. Heading into this season. Tell me how serious was that talk there?
Yeah, I mean, I never really entertained it. I never really entertained any teams that kind of reached out or that type of thing. But with this new age at the portal and NIL, that type of thing, there are when you're an older guy and a possibility of a graduate transfer or a couple of years of eligibility, there definitely are teams that kind of reach out, and especially to smaller schools, and get their bigger players, and they had reached out. Like they find way. Obviously, it's against the rules, so they find ways around it. Someone had told me they were reaching out, but I'd never really entertained it. I wanted to be here for my last year and kind of finish the job here. So
As always, got to wrap with a little Giants talk. Tough one last week. Got Seattle
mhm.
on the slate this week. How you feeling about that one?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it's a must win for us. The way the division's going, I think the Eagles are really good. The Cowboys, they had a tough one. They actually lost the team we beat,
Yeah,
but they're doing well, and we're kind of last in the division right now. So I think it's a big win for us, for our season for sure. Hopefully Saquon can play and help us out.
yeah, and at least you're not the Jets right now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But Jackson, I really appreciate the time and best of luck against Utah State this week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.